Hello all. I have no idea if you can hear this. I've never done a live stream before. So I'm just kind of giving it a go while getting things done online. So all flaws and mistakes and slips of the tongue are going to be very clearly immortalized, embedded in the broadcast forever. I think this immediately goes onto YouTube once it's done. So this is the first time for me for doing a live stream. I thought I should do it because people told me to. So it is Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3:01 now. And the topic I wanted to cover today is OMAD money, wealth as it relates to the optimized life. Sure enough, Mom has to call right when we start. My whole life is that way. Something will happen. I'll sit down to do a meeting with someone, and then everybody will call and try to get a hold of me. Do you have the same experience? I kind of do. I think there's a chat feature here. I don't know if it's enabled or not. But so I guess let's get started. So one of the things I've said on this channel before that I've noticed, when I started losing weight, I was eating extremely small, controlled, one-plate portions. And as a result of that, I realized I had all this money around because I was spending in the neighborhood of about $1,000, just shy of $1,000 a month. Not for anybody else, just for me alone, for food expenses. Eating out. Some of my favorite places were Popeyes, China Sea, a little Chinese establishment near my house. Of course, every Mexican taqueria joint I could find, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, crap like that. It's just not good at all. So when I stopped doing that, or when I went to the same places and I had one small portion, bam, I had all this money starting to amass again. And I let me tell you this, I have been broke. Some of you guys finding me since 2013, it's a different me. I remember not too long before that being just broke as all get out. But I had all this money, and so I had all the energy, number one, and money, number two. So you have two good things. You know your life is doing well when you have money and energy. If you don't, then something is kind of wrong. But you don't want one or the other. You don't want a whole bunch of energy and be broke, and you don't want a whole lot of, well, vice versa. So, but what this translated to savings. I was 34 or 5 when I had my first savings accounts. I had not established a savings account prior to that. I had not invested prior to that. And this is not a channel for investing, so I'm not going to spend all hour talking about stuff like that. Okay. So, okay, here we go. I couldn't see the chat. Now I can see the chat. So. Stephen, how's it going? Stephen Raphael. Marianne. Here we go. Susan, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Some of you guys I have heard from in messages and or comments, and I have not heard from since. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with some of you. So to stay halfway on topic, Delph the White. Can I eat anything on OMAD? How do I know what to eat? Anything that you can make a meal out of, my friend. Anything that you can make a meal out of. You would not do that with Cheetos and Ding Dongs, but you would do that with a hot dog and chips, maybe. I don't think that's a good idea to eat all the time. But you can do that. And starting, It doesn't matter. Just start fasting. Just start controlling your portions, and lo and behold, your game changes. Hello from let's see, Jennifer Sakara. See how this is distracting and addicting and enticing. Hello from Kansas. Hello from Chicago. I crave too much junk on OMAD. Yes, that's why this is a perfect opportunity to allow yourself one of your favorite thing and not the rest. And even if it's not that good for you, your body will start to change your preferences very quickly. Hello from Breckenridge, Texas. Okay. Brazil. You're welcome. Yes, I do water fasting. In fact, guess what I'm in the middle of today? I haven't done a water fast in a while. All right, JJ Dynamite. Welcome, buddy. So, yes, I was broke, and I started to have all this money, all of this energy, and one of the things I did was invest it. But I have some lessons today for you. Is dry fasting a good thing? I think let's just do some Q&A first, because that seems to be what everybody is digging. Let's see. No, dry fasting you should do incrementally, maybe twice or 3 times a year. You should not do dry fasting all the time. You're going to tax your adrenals, and you're going to end up with a jitters. You're not going to want to do that too often. Yes, you'll adjust and you'll be fine for the time being, but you don't want to do it too often. Do you have a cheat day? You know what? I do. I kind of don't think of it as a cheat day, but yeah, I do. But when I go to see my parents, I'll drive down there and just eat whatever. But I don't. Maybe that's once every week or 2 weeks. I don't really care. I don't have to care. I would, Delph. I would try to fit all your calories in one meal. For me, that's simplest. But I wouldn't keep around calories unless you know you're too small and you're not getting enough, or your calorie demand is very high and you're not able to really manage. Thanks, Susan. Well, yeah. If I miss you, anybody, I'm sorry. Again, this is my first go round. I have no idea. I'm just figuring out how to do that. Also, I have it enabled so that trolls or potentially troll comments are not showing up. So if your comment doesn't show up, I can manually approve it later, I guess. See, this is Gord235 asked, what's most effective, the fasting part or the calorie deficiency? It's both, to answer your question, because the fact that you're putting all your calories together means you have more time for your insulin to go to baseline. But it's also the fact that you're not getting too much. If you only need 3,000 calories a day to maintain weight and you get 6,500, you're going to gain even if you put them all in one meal. Although you won't gain as much as you think because your body can't process all that you eat. You have waste matter that doesn't make it in. So to answer your question, it's both. Do I have a slogan or mantra? Yeah, eat and be done with it, I guess. You guys pick one. I don't know. This is, y'all know I don't do well with the smiley, touchy-feely stuff. Y'all have to do that for me. OMAD makes you fat. Svensson 523. No, it does not, as the entire viewing audience will testify. Hello from Washington. Lost 70 pounds so far on OMAD. I keep hearing about it. That's great, Dimitri. What do you think of OMAD on work days and water fasting on most weekends? I think it's a great plan if you have energy and it's functional and it goes with your operation. Not adapting after 3 weeks, is that normal? Give yourself 6 weeks, my friend. If you don't, then contact me and we'll look at some potential causes. That is rare. I've had one woman take 8 weeks to adapt, and she had PCOS and hypothyroid, and she is losing weight. And she might jump on here. I'm not gonna call her out yet. She may not want that. So if she's there, I'll call her out. Had a small bowl of spaghetti yesterday, and that's it. Way to go. Pick something you like that is for you, even if it's not something that somebody else would make a meal out of, and bam, you're done. You're done for that day. The next day, maybe you'll feel like planning more, and the next day you'll feel like optimizing more, but that day you don't have to. So that's what makes it so good. is OMAD okay if you are in high school? Yes, but remember, you're still growing, so you don't want to play too much with calorie deficits. You want to make sure that you are tracking calories and or having 2 meals. I would optimize your protein as well. If you guys who are young, some of you guys are like 14, 15, 17 years old who email me, you need to make sure you're not done growing yet, and you're going to stunt your hormonal development if you stay low calorie. So do OMAD, but make sure you are getting enough to eat, and make sure you're optimized. I would recommend that. Usually kids don't have to. Kids can do 2 meals a day with no sugar in between. So a morning meal, a night meal, no sugar in between, work out like heck, you're doing fine. Some of these I'm having, let's see, how many calories should eat OMAD? Well, that depends on you. I wouldn't focus too much on the calorie, because you're doing that if you're controlling your portions. You'll be unproductive if you get too little for too long. You'll also be stupid hungry and you won't be able to function. But if you get it just right, you'll do okay. I'm sorry, I can't say. Do I still eat carbs? Actually, no. Your insulin sensitivity becomes very good, so that your body stops you after a while. But there are times, if you're used to eating a lot of protein, when you have carbs, it's going to make you hungrier because it's going to stimulate more insulin. Your gut microbiome will adjust to that. Good job, Biohazard. OMAD Dad is here. Hey, man, what's going on? Big bowl of spaghetti from Bryan, Texas. Some of you guys talking about spaghetti. I was thinking about spaghetti the other day. I can do spaghetti when I'm in the mood. Sisters on keto, what do you think? I'm not a fan of keto. I know some of you guys are. More power to you if that's what you do. I'm not a fan of that. But it has not worked ever for me. I don't adapt. I don't do well. I start to get horrible muscle cramps. I just don't do it. Sakara says, I keep hearing about people losing 20 pounds a month. I'm on OMAD and I'm only losing 2 pounds a week. Am I doing something wrong? No, you're doing great. It depends on how big you are to start. I lost 25 pounds my first month on OMAD because I was 364. Somebody else might be 250 or 300. Or if you're starting at a higher weight, you're going to lose more, and then it's going to gradually slow down. 2 pounds is actually optimal. Sakara, you're doing great. You don't want to lose more than about 2.2 to 2.5 every week, because then it starts to pull on muscle. You don't want to lose too fast. Hey, by the way, let me do a shout out right now to Stephen Raphael. He has been following my channel for a while, but he is one of those who were severely diabetic. He had a A1C of about 15 or 14 or 15. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but he was literally on death's door. I mean, that's the point where you go into a coma and die, because he had out of control blood sugars. So, he shows that you can turn it around. You can fast and turn it around. There are some people who don't receive, and I work with diabetics. I know there are people who do have past 17. Raphael says they couldn't measure it. He had blood sugar so high that they literally, the scale stops measuring it. That's insane. But he totally changed his game. And so you can go to Stephen Raphael's channel and check it out, because he knows what he's talking about. He's done it a while now. Okay, see. Vanilla Gorilla says, OMAD is working for me coming from a stall on keto. Not sure why, but I'm afraid my progress will stall if I start adding carbs. Here's the thing. Anytime, this is the rules. This is why I tell people don't eliminate food groups, because when you get rid of carbs and you add them back in, bam, your weight shoots up 10 pounds. If you eliminate protein, same thing. You add in protein, you get fat. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your food choices normal. And what days do you do live? I'm aiming to do Fridays live from now on, Susan. We'll see if my schedule permits that, but I think it should. I'm trying to do an hour live. How do you deal with sagging skin? Honestly, you live with it. I do have some saggy skin around my waist, but I don't know that there's a way to prevent it. I know guys as young as 17 who lost a lot of weight who did have saggy skin, but other guys who were 60 and did not. So I don't know. I know I don't think bone broth and all of this stuff and celery juice, I don't think it really helps. I've done it, I don't think it helps. I think it's one of those things, if you have to have surgery, if you're mega obese and you lost a lot of weight, you just do. But it is what it is. Yeah, just Stephen George. Hi, Joe. I'm vegan and I eat a lot of carbs. I aim for 1,500 and the weight is dropping off. Yes, it will. There's days I can do a bowl of rice and celery juice and spinach and pineapple, like a smoothie. So a celery juice on an empty stomach. About 15 minutes later, a spinach and pineapple smoothie, and then eat a small or medium or even large carb meal, and the weight drops right off. Some of you don't have that. You don't have that, you're not adjusted to that. But for those of you, especially those of you who are plant-based or vegan like I am, or plant-based, not vegan in my case, but your body will adjust. It will start making the gut bacteria to digest what you eat. Same thing if you're doing all meats, if you're doing all, I don't advise it, but if you do that, your body will adjust finally. But you don't want to do that, because then when you do have a birthday party or when you have stuff like that, you're going to jinx your success because you're going to kind of explode. How can I suppress my appetite naturally? My friend, there is no, I wish stuff worked like that. You have to get used to the hunger. Your body will start making growth hormone and you will kick into optimizing, but you can't, you're going to be hungry if that's where I think you're going there. Water fasting for a week plus should help with sagging skin a lot. The theory is to consume the body. You know, I have done 5 and 7 day water fasts. I think I did notice some skin reduction, but it's hard to say. I don't want to give credit where credit is not due. Let's see. So thank you for being on live. I am happy to accommodate. I kept saying I was going to do it, and you know how I've said, and I've said this on the channel. I've said I'm gonna do videos, and then I don't. I say I'm going to do a video, and then I haven't done it. So I might as well address some of this from a perspective here, just a questions perspective, because there's a way to present videos on everything that everything else that you have a question about, except what you have a question about. How many hours have you fasted, Joe? I have the longest I have gone is 10 days with nothing but water, and I think a little juice, but that was a long time ago. I haven't done that since. It's not necessary to do all these long fasts, by the way, you guys. Suppress carbs, and my advice would be to get adjusted to carbs is do something like celery juice, and then gradually add in stuff like freshly squeezed pineapple and watermelon. It's good. It gives you a resistance because you absorb the nutrients very fast, and your body will become not insulin resistant. When you're having trouble with carbs, it's usually insulin resistance. Your body's starting to push back. You don't like how you feel when you eat, and that's your body. Either you're getting older and you're slowly becoming insulin resistant, or you've been eating too much too often, which it's those people who eat a lot of little meals and they do smoothies, like these ladies who do pasta and a bagel and smoothies throughout the day. You're going to become insulin resistant pretty fast. So even if you are eating healthy, your body will back up and say, whoa, slow your roll. I can't handle it. You will kind of explode. Yeah, that's true. My swelling. Lymphedema question here. Do fennel tea, and you will, fennel tea and a lot of pineapple helps with swelling and water retention. For those of you who are also dandelion tea, take dandelion tea, put in some fennel seeds. It tastes very bitter, but it's good. Okay, let me go back up here. I missed some now. I have learned so much from you, Joe. Thanks. I reversed my diabetes, fatty liver. There you go. There you go. And here's the thing. He mentioned something, or she mentioned, Paula. Yes, black coffee, straight black coffee. I know some of you are used to having cream in it. It makes it harder for you, but it does. You can deal with it. I mean, you can adjust. Eat the carbs in one big meal. And here's the thing. It's really kind of your body corrects. So if you're eating too many carbs one day and you find out that you ate too much, you think you went over on the calories, who cares? You won't do that the following day because you'll be feeling uncomfortable with what you did. And so the guilt will actually help you. Here we go. What do you think about Butter Bob Briggs' method of losing weight? Well, he's one of these people that do I think he's pretty much a keto person. I have emailed him before and talked with him. Well, it's been a while since I've maybe. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I think he kind of just does videos on keto style, if I'm not mistaken. But he definitely has an excellent story, and he, lost. I think he was 350 and lost all his weight. And, how many calories per day would you recommend or ballpark for a 24-year-old at around 155 pounds doing OMAD? Feel like I may be eating too little. Well, you need to listen to your body. If you feel like you are and you're worried about it, you probably need to adjust upward. I would listen to your body, but I would say, depending on your activity level, 24 plus, 2,400 calories, 25, 3,000, depending if you're really active, 3,500. Give you an idea, guys. A bodybuilder, a pro bodybuilder, who is all about massing up, will put about 6,500 calories a day, or 45 at the least, to upwards, because they are constantly calling upon their muscles. Now, that's not a good idea for most people, because you will insanely gain weight. Just want to say I appreciate you. Go Better says, thank you so much, Cynthia. Thanks for the live stream. I'm trying to catch all the questions before they get away from me. Next time I'll be more poised and ready to do this. So Jaden says, thanks for the live stream. Been doing OMAD for over a year, down 40 points, and blood pressure is down 125/80 from 212 over 170. My friend, you and I were around the same mark. I averaged close to 200, and with the bottom number at about 160 or 150, and that's getting stroke territory. You're looking at, I wasn't quite as bad as your numbers, but I remember going into the hospital with a kidney stone in 2004, and I was all of 345 or 350 pounds at the time, and I had a it was 253 over 179, and I was in pain too, but it averaged about 175 over 112, 115. So that's way high. Listen, guys, you're seeing it. You can own this. You can absolutely own this. OMAD works no matter what diet. That's what I've said from the beginning, Instone. That's true. I think for most people, your body's going to cause you problems if you try to do too extreme one way or the other. But if you are a person who finds that a carnivorous approach works, I mean, who am I to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't do that? It sounds like a bad idea to me, but that's coming from me. So if your body's different. Water fasting. I need to make another video on that, because I get questions about water fasting. Here's a problem with water fasting. It's great, but you don't need it for most people. If you are looking to kickstart your weight loss and you are severely obese and or sick, then it is a good idea to start the first 2 to 3 days with just water. But it's also going to be super hard, and you're probably going to fail if you are coming from eating pies and cakes. And when your insulin crashes and you are running at 63 blood sugar, you are going to be having to lay down. You're going to be running to the bathroom. You're going to feel sick. You're going to get that flu-y feeling. And you're going to feel horrible. So I would ease into OMAD normally, but for those of you who do prefer water fasting for healing or mental clarity, make sure because what you don't ever want to do is break down and binge. Otherwise, you're hurting yourself. You're just hurting your body. If all you're going to do is fail, you need to make sure you're in control. That's why I think water fasting is a bit extreme. Speaking of all this water, I'm going to do another shot here. Julie Wood says, 2 meals a day trying to work my way to OMAD. You may be a baby steps person. You like to take it gradually. Me, I'm all or nothing. But that's a good way to do it. If you do 2 small meals, gradually shrink their size, have only water and nothing in between. And you don't even have a calorie beverage. Don't even do, well, if you're going to, go ahead and have a juice at the meal, apple cider vinegar, but don't do anything that is going to tax you too much. But you want to gradually get to where you're going. And then one day eat once and see how you feel. A lot of people too, Matt, if they can control themselves, is plenty good. Some of you aren't that out of shape or overweight, or you don't have that many health problems. Here's another tip for those of you who are doing too, Matt. We've had several, usually younger people try this. If you do the first meal of the day, like something like celery juice or spinach juice, like the spinach and pineapple, and you have the second meal protein, you tend to do pretty well. Have you given up, or have you given an update on the Hashimoto's issue? Yeah, let me, I was going to do a video on this, but let me just update you. I actually have something called secondary Hashimoto's. So mine doesn't fit the profile. But it has receded. I no longer have depression from it. I have been taking a series of mushrooms, and I will upload the file. And I will do an update on my routine on that. I have different supplements that I take now. I don't have to take them. How much water should you drink? Susan asks. As much as you feel comfortable drinking, and/or to beat boredom. Sometimes, here's what I do when I was losing weight, and even still, I play with the lid bottle. I just kind of do this, and I take a drink when I'm bored, because you don't want to ever get into the routine of eating out of boredom or snacking out of boredom. That's what I came from. So when you keep your bottle handy, you're good. Can I do a video on some of my flashlights? Dutch, I love you. Somebody else who's a flashaholic. Go to my channel, JHO. I have another flashlight. I have a channel for that, JHO. And it's here on YouTube. I only have like 20 subscribers, but I do flashlight. I don't update it anymore. You can even find videos of me doing reviews on flashlights from 2009 or 8 when I was a fat guy. But check that out. JHO is the channel. I still update once in a great while, but it's good to meet another flashaholic out there. How do you feel about sugar consumption on OMAD, provided the person doesn't have high blood sugar levels? No, sugar's fine, especially fruit sugars. You're fine. If you strike a balance and you have a 5 to 10% fat or protein meal versus, your body's going to adjust fine. And you're going to find, most of you, that you lose more weight if you don't do the high protein, high fat approach, for most of you anyway. Tomatoes made me gag before, and I have no desire to get intoxicated anymore. Yes, your body will change. Glenn Martinez commented. I can't get calories in because I had gastric bypass, and I still work after 20 years. I gained because of okay. Can't see. Oh, okay. I guess that's all of the comment. If you've had something like gastric bypass, and you cannot consume enough food, then obviously you need to choose a different approach. You could work on stretching your stomach out, which would kind of be like a long-term goal for you. But I wouldn't. Here's the problem with gastric bypass. If you go back to eating, you'll get fat again. The internet is replete with examples of people getting fat again. But if you have had that, what I would recommend is juicing vegetables, and then gradually go as long as you can, and then start adding in solid foods. That's what I would do. I know I had a friend of mine. She was about 350, 385. So she was a 5'7" lady in her 50s who had gastric sleeve, and it tore open in the middle of the night. I had to rush her to the hospital. That happened. And I was a big guy back then. This was a long time ago, but I know so many people who've had trouble. You have to be very careful once you've had a weight loss surgery. In what order you eat your OMAD? Have you noticed a difference in what order you eat your OMAD meal? Like, eat easily digestible fresh fruits. Okay, let me comment on that, because that's an interesting subject. I have noticed that I have experimented with it, but I have also noticed that it really doesn't make a difference. I used to think that if you eat your fruits first, or you eat something first, but your body really is going to digest it all together. Some people who have a slower metabolism, or they have problems with acid reflux, might want to do easily digestible foods together. So you might have your fruits first, and then wait a while to finish your meal, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and let the fruit absorption be done, and then you add in your veggies, and then finally your meat, so that it doesn't ferment in your stomach. That's been what I have been told. I don't have that problem. I never have, almost never have. More notifications. I just can't win. But thank you, Mason. Thank you for donating to Your channel gives me hope. Thank you. Hey, I'm happy to give it back. The reason I started this channel is to pass along the knowledge because of the game changer that it was for me. OMAD has accomplished what medical techniques have failed to do. In large part, yes, that is true. Most people, this was the problem. I was considering gastric bypass, and I had a lady say, you're really too big, your blood pressure is just getting out of control. Because remember, if you follow this channel, everything stopped working. I was taking Benicar for blood pressure. It stopped working because I was so obese, and every time I got up, I would nearly pass out because my blood would flow and I would hear my heartbeat in both ears. And I felt awful. So I finally said, it's either I have to do gastric bypass or I have to find a way to lose weight. Well, I wasn't going to go for an $8,000 medical procedure. I don't know how much it is. It's a few $1,000s. My insurance, the lady was trying to get my insurance to clear it. And I said, no. I said, forget about it. And then I decided, let's knock this out. Okay, do I drink apple cider vinegar? Yes, if you follow my early videos, that's part of the plan. One juice, about 12 to 20 ounces with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar daily. Do that for the first month every day, twice a week. And then to lose weight, do you need to keep calories to a certain amount? And then, thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that. Thanks for your work. Helped me a lot. That's what it's about, man. I appreciate so much your donation. And for everybody who, whether you can or cannot donate, I appreciate your participation and your supporting the channel and spreading the news. But yes, unfortunately, doctors and getting help with sleeves and all this, it's ultimately not a smart move. You can do this yourself. And if you go plant-based OMAD, in my opinion, that's the best way. That's the best solution. Do you think exercise plays any role in weight loss while doing OMAD? Yes, if you are at a healthy weight and you can keep your stress levels in control. For instance, if you deal with, if you're obese, you don't want to stress your body out. If you're running, you should be able to have a conversation while you're running. So you have to be, in order to do that, you should probably walk. Most people would say, so keep your stress levels, cortisol levels. This gets back to cortisol levels and stress. If you control your stress levels, then you can exercise. If you feel good, you can exercise. If you don't, then obviously you have an issue. So my answer to that is optimize. If something is too hard for you, then it's too hard for you. I play chess, but if I go try to challenge a champion, I'm not a match because I'm not a champion. So you have to go to your level, to what you can handle. That's why if you're coming to this channel and you're morbidly obese, you need to your whole exercise is controlling. And then, getting up and going to the bathroom, walking across the house. And I've worked with people who are 600 pounds now. They lose super fast because your transformation, your life will change in ways you don't even know. Giovanni asks, are you rich? No, I'm doing pretty well, but that's actually what the topic was today, which has been sidelined for the time being. But I'm doing very well. I'm not hurting, but it hasn't always been that way. OMAD has optimized, the brain changes have optimized my career and my effectiveness, I think. I don't think I know. But no, I wouldn't. No, I'm not having dinner with Charlie Munger or Bill Gates, or I'm not. Don't go there. I'm not in that crowd. So just because I play golf with some old white guys and we talk about finances doesn't mean you should use the term rich. I'm not there. So, but I'm not hurting. So you're as rich as you feel like you are. I realize my value. I realize maybe this is a good segue into where I'm going. Your money changes hands when problems are solved. So if you want to be of value, if you want to be rich, be of value. Don't follow all these channels on YouTube where all they talk about is how to look like you own a yacht. I drive a Mitsubishi freaking Mirage. I don't care. I can afford a Mercedes. I don't go out there because I don't care what people think. I rented a little apartment here. You can see this is not a classy apartment. In fact, it's the cheapest I can find in Austin. I can afford 5 times that. I'm paying like $920 a month. I can afford it, but I don't put that to the forefront. Your value, your money comes from your value. the scriptures say, he who is he who is diligent in his craft, he will stand before kings. You will be known. People will come to you for advice, for money, for truth, when you have value. If you're not there yet, make peace with that and say, I'm going to find my center. Go with the flow. Go with your flow, not just selfishness. I missed a few things. Hang on here. Plant-based, really, what has changed your mind? Are you now vegan, brother? I'm not vegan, but I do. What has changed my mind is I feel better, and my when I go to the doctor, my blood lipids are better on a vegan diet. My blood sugar is, I have an A1C of 4.7, about 4.9 to 4.7. Pre-OMAD, it was about 5.6, so it was the national average. On OMAD, it was about 5.2. Vegan OMAD or plant-based OMAD. Another reason I don't call myself vegan, I don't hold the ethics, and a lot of these channels are hippies. They're very young, unwashed hippies who think that, we could get into a whole topic on animal ethics, but it's not. I don't think I'm worthy to be called that. But I do eat a very plant-based diet. I can go all week and have meat, maybe, or flesh food, maybe, or buy a like animal product or byproduct just once a week, and I'm fine. But I generally don't care. I just try to keep 10%. The rest is plant-based. I have incorporated juices and smoothies, and I think that can help. Okay, Debbie Omad says, I wanted to touch on this. I do not have blood sugar issues, but get so tired after I eat. Will I begin to tolerate carbs better as I go along? I've been doing OMAD for 2 months now. If you're getting tired after you eat, or you're feeling bad after you eat, you need to look into now I don't know your age, Debbie, and I don't necessarily need to know, but generally as we get older, our stomach acidity goes down, so it's harder. Your body has to absorb more blood to digest. That's probably why. But I would go for lighter liquid meals if you're having trouble for a while, and then gradually add in harder foods. Can I use stevia in my tea? Hey, I've used stevia for a while. I have recently not used it, but there's no prohibition against using it. I use it. I have a bag of it in there right now. $900, that's a half a room in California. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in California. I've got no love for that. But no offense if you're from California. I'm a Texas guy. So. Glad to see you are uploading still. Yeah, folks, I'm not. I'm still here. I have committed now to upload more. So thanks for your encouragement on that. So true to exercise after eating. I have a smartwatch which measures steps. Here's the thing: for those of you who are having sleepiness after the meal, go do your therapy walk. And your therapy walk is that where you go and you walk at the fastest comfortable pace you can go, at the best, whatever time you're done eating, right when you're done eating, and walk. Give yourself 30 minutes to an hour. You will beat the sleepiness. That will get your body metabolizing what you've eaten better. So those of you who are older, like Debbie, you mentioned, that becomes a problem. You can't eat like when I was a big guy, and before, even back in 17, 18, 19, I could eat 21 tacos at a sitting and finish out the day like a hummingbird. I could knock stuff out. I can't do that now. I can, but I'll feel, ACV does help with acid reflux. Susan mentioned that, and I did mention that when coaching Susan, and that's she knows that it's super effective. Same thing with different things. 23 thumbs up. Let's push 100 people. Let's do it. What is diabetes? What is disease? It is basically your body backing up. Your body having to not being able to deal with things. But let me go back into. Whoops! Hold on. I just clicked into the wrong thing. You ever do that where something pops up and you say, "Oh, I'm an idiot. I clicked into the wrong thing." No, I did not. I have never had. Here's the thing, folks, with diabetes. Usually, those who struggle with it just have a lower ability to produce insulin, and that's why they're struggling with that. It's not because you actually have it or don't have it. You just treat it. That's why it's different. I've never had it. Even when I used to pig out, my sugar would never get higher than 140 after a meal. So now those of you who have poorer control, like my mother, for instance, her A1C is about 5.8 or 5.7. So after a meal, she will hit about 165, 170, 185. And then it'll take longer because she's over 70 for her blood sugar to come back down to baseline. As you get older, you lose control just by the fact that your body is less optimized. But no, I was never diabetic. So for me, bam, I'm popped right back in. I have super good blood sugar control. Jaden, thank you so much, Jaden. Your support will not be forgotten. I thank you so much, and I'm glad that I was able to add value to you. Let me continue to be able to do so. Do you think about a juice fast using OMAD? Yes, I do. I did one. The last 2 days. Well, a couple days before that, I did 10 days on grape juice and saw some nasty old mucoid plaque. Yes, you do. And I'll do a video on juice fasting because it does have great value for the right people. For those of you who don't have good blood sugar control, you can consider doing juice fasting with water fasting to give, when you're getting too low, you can jump your blood sugar back up. You're going to find it's still very hard because you're going to be hungry. Just because your sugar is modulating doesn't mean that you're going to sense that you're full. And that's going to be the difference. What about do you juice fasting 10 days? Yes, what you experience there. Let me tell you, folks, when you do a juice fast, you be close to a toilet for the first 5 days because you are going to see stuff come up that you ain't wanting to talk about. But again, thank you, Jaden. I appreciate your donation. Do you still drink celery juice? I just bought a juicer, and I have it. Wait, let me see. While we're on the subject, since I'm not into doing promos for people, I have refused money for that, but I'll still give them a shout out. Here is the juicer I bought and love for those of you who do it. For celery juice, it just makes sense. It's a Mueller. You can find it on Amazon for about less than $100, and it is very reliable. It's just he extracts a lot of juice, and it is very, very good. I have the box, but I love it so far. And I do that with celery juice. I don't do it with a whole lot. I do it with beets and grapes. But I do drink celery juice about 4 times a week on an empty stomach before I start a meal if I'm home and I have access to it. What's your opinion, vegan or vegetarian? Again, I don't do labels. I think plant-based is good enough. Vegetarian, I have respect for. Vegan, I have respect for. But we just disagree on some. We probably disagree on some of the ethics questions that come with a dedicated vegan. So I don't like to construe. I don't like to misconstrue. But I think if you're doing it smart and you know what's involved, vegan or vegetarian can work. I'm 65 years young and developed type 2 diabetes because of insulin resistance. I've reversed it, but I will not stop eating carbs. Hey, you do not have to. You'd be surprised how well watermelon and fruits do for diabetes, and people are surprised to see that if they do a smoothie or a juice or have a mostly liquid-based meal, how your blood, even if it's very sweet, your blood sugar will go down. And some of you, that's not even why you have blood sugar control issues. It could be related to something else, but most people, it's a quick fix, folks. Within 2 weeks of fasting, you go from type 2 diabetic to nearly optimal. You go to a pre-diabetic in 3 days to a week. You're back to solid, good blood sugar levels with fasting. That's the way it works. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Here we go again. Me clicking on the wrong thing. But no, OMAD, is it better for long-term weight loss sustainability to do OMAD or OMAD? You want to do OMAD because that's most sustainable. That's why OMAD and various periodic fasts don't do as well, because they're not as sustainable. You can't go forever on water fasting. You can't go forever juice fasting. You can't go forever eating once every 3 days or 4 or 5 days. You theoretically could, but you're going to have to set aside an entire day to get enough food of feasting on something like OMED where to get enough calories in the long run. I just don't see it as practical. Yeah, and then here's the thing: when you do that a while, you jump off. When you control you have a daily routine, you're doing better. If you can eat less food, you can optimize your metabolism, but obviously you have to have a system for that, or you wouldn't have been in this business to begin with. Oregano oil, I don't really have any experience with. I'm not an oils person. I don't do any direct oil. I don't cook with oils. I fry with water. Like Mike the vegan did a thing on frying with water. He taught me how to fry with water, and I have done it. Yeah, I failed the first 5 times, and now I know how to stir fry on a dry pan with just the water from the frozen veggies, and then maybe adding a little. And I do. I'm used to it. I don't miss it at all. I don't want to go back to oil. Unless if I'm eating out and there's oil, I'll go with it. But I won't go out of the way to buy. There's no oil. If you look in my kitchen, there's no canola oil or cooking oil or olive oil or anything like that. Jaden asks, 48 hours. I've gotten sick. I've done 48, 72 hours and never sick after. Not sure if you have experience with that. Yes, because what happens with the bear, folks, go back to my mighty role model, the bear. That's where I got all of this. It's the masters of weight loss still teach. It's not me, it's the bear. I'm just kind of a conduit. What do they do when they get sick or when they eat poison carrion in the wilderness? They sleep for about 5 to they go into a mini hibernation where they go to the stream and they drink water. And they just keep drinking water. And they literally lay with their mouth to the stream and they lap in as much water as they can. And they lay there. Then they find, after they've done that for about 4 to 6 hours a day, they go find a cave or under a secluded place. And then they go back to the water the next day and they start drinking. They do the same thing that you should do. You can do that with juice and you'll have great success, but water is still the ultimate opportunity for your body to readjust. And that's why the bear does that. There was a video about Zuki the bear who was poisoned by poachers. And it took 36 days, but she went into hibernation, mini hibernation, did what I was talking about. She recovered and went back into the wild to do her thing, her beautiful natural thing. I envy the mighty bear. That's the symbol of this channel, the picture. I guess I haven't done much by way of symbols or insignias. But some of you guys are having too big of meals. I'm noticing this when some of you send me pictures of your meals. You're eating. You're saying, since I'm going to eat once, I'm going to have a stupid big meal. Man, it hasn't worked out. So obviously, if you get too many calories, you're gonna overshoot yourself. You don't want to do that. But here's what I learned. If we can readjust, zero sodas, I have no problem with. Just be careful. Any diet sodas are zero because they do irritate your bladder, so you end up peeing a lot more, and you'll get dehydrated. So be careful. Make sure you're getting water. But here's what I learned. And here are the lessons I learned from my all the money I saved on OMAD with everything that I did. By eating, you have all this money, you have all this time. Invest in yourself. Humble yourself to your circumstances. Learn your value. And this is, forgive me here, but a Bible verse, Mark 4:25. For he that hath, to him shall more be given, and he that hath not, from him what little he has shall be taken away. So to him who has shall more be given. It's like this when you optimize your life. You start saving money. You start reducing your cravings. You start stopping drinking. You start doing drugs. You start optimizing yourself, and you become a super version of you. Well, when you get that, just as this verse says, you start to build more, and it's a snowball effect. You come down the mountain, and the snowball gets bigger until you are rocking. So you do the same thing with your money. You start investing. For those of you who don't have a savings account, get a freaking savings account. Don't worry about returns. Just put in $20 per paycheck. If you make a lot more money, put in $200. I have every month a certain large percentage of my income goes into my savings, and I have several savings. I was 35 before I got the sense to do that. But understand the principle here. That's really the overriding factor. So That's the way life is. Life is a vortex. When you see someone who shoots up a mall or does something terrible or does something horrible, you see that their grief, their envy, their anger, their fear, their resentment, their self-doubt has reached a peak in which it's like a black hole collapsing in on itself. They take people with them, and no one can help them. You have to forget about them. You have to call the SWAT team and have them shot because they're only a detriment. Life is like that, and that's why there's no middle class in this country anymore. It's diminishing because for him who has shall more be given. Those who are getting richer because they have more. And then those who are getting poorer are becoming more the victims, more bitter, more resentful of those who have, and they're getting poorer and becoming more prone to crime. You see how this works? Do you see the spiral? So you're like a black hole of good or a black hole of bad. And if you're a black hole of good, you're like a saint or Tony Robbins. You're changing the world. You're building people up. Everybody in your life is better because of you rather than worse off because of you or neutral because of you. The second point here, you are the story you tell. You create your own reality, which is the law of attraction. Proverbs 22:29. I'm giving you Bible quotes here. I don't care if you acknowledge them or don't acknowledge them. I'm saying this is wisdom, regardless of whether it is human or divine. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That's how you are. If you optimize and you save all the money that you have, you become more. But here's where this changes. For those of you who are broke and who write me, I've had crappy jobs. I've had, let me tell you briefly, I have to close out here pretty soon because I have a business meeting to get to. But I've had crappy jobs. The worst one was scraping bird crap off tables in south side of San Antonio after a rain. And there was mosquitoes everywhere. I didn't have any, this is years ago, I didn't have any skills. I didn't have anything. And so I was doing that with convicted felons who couldn't get a job. And you forget about how much you can save with this. And then you realize you start to have value, but when you have no skills, you don't know that. You think, well, who is going to do for me? Don't do that. When you start getting money, you start saving money, but don't only save money. Start investing. Flex your money muscle. See value and give away value. And this is what the richest man in China says. Go be as generous as you can with your money while you are poor, because when you are older, you will have time for yourself. And it's very true. I can do things now that I never could have done. I can travel. I could never have done it. Just 7, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, I was very limited in what I could do. I have a lot more freedom now. But remember this, your money is like a muscle. As you flex it, you use it. So don't save and hoard your money. Use it selflessly. Optimize it. Take it, put it in a savings account. Take a little more and start loaning it to people. Give away. Have a percentage that you give away to people and ask nothing in return. That's the strength. And I'm going to try to get back to the questions here before we conclude, but I wanted to go over this because I'm going to run out of time. I'm fast seeing that here. Yes, the revolution continues. That's what we're doing here. We're changing things for the better. But you spend money by what I call the opposite of the toothpaste principle. The toothpaste principle is this. When you take your toothpaste, and it's a full tube, you squeeze it. Bye, Susan. We'll see you soon. You squeeze it more when you have more toothpaste in the tube. But as that toothpaste gets squeezed out, what do you start doing? To keep from buying another tube, you start squeezing it, and squeezing it out until you make that toothpaste last like 4 months longer, right? Well, think that way with your money. When you do get an increase in savings, start saving and don't throw it away and start buying a new plasma screen TV. Don't do that. Start saving like with the toothpaste, like you do when you're having to do that. Don't do it by squeezing a whole knob onto your toothbrush, like you do. But and this gets back to the poverty mindset, folks. I could spend a whole nother hour here on the poverty mindset. The poverty mindset says this. Maybe this characterizes you. Money is evil. Money is an unfortunate necessity in society. If you think like that, you will never have. Because wealthy people who are doing well, who are powerful, life-changing people, understand that money is a tool. It's like a wrench to get under your automobile and take off the plug so that you can change your oil. You need it to do the job. So money is not evil. And it's not something that only corrupt people have. It is something that finds you when you are doing well. So I've elaborated on this already a little bit when I talked about he who is rich, he will stand before kings. It's people will find you, and it won't be you going out and hustling, doing business to business sales like I used to do. I used to go and do door to door sales as a young man, and it sucked. I was getting the door slammed in my face. At one point, I had a little play cell phone and a teddy bear and a little jingly bell, and we go, "Hey, how you doing, man, sir? A moment of your time," and then the door closes. And it was hot. I had to spend all day doing that, and I wouldn't even make like $35 for a day. Sometimes I go 2-3 days without a sale. So for those of you in sales, I used to be in sales until about 2001. I got out of it. But wisdom says you shouldn't be doing all the work. People should be coming to you for half the value. Yes, you should hustle, but you should also wait for people to come and find you. And if they're not doing that, guess what? That's a measure. That's a measuring little thermometer that tells you your value. You don't yet possess the value that others recognize, but you will. Humble yourself to your circumstances and acknowledge that if you're thinking big and you realize that there is a better life to be had, it's yours for the taking. It's yours to be had, but you have to be worth it. You're just not there yet. So work your money muscle. Give and expect to occasionally not receive. Expect that whatever you loan somebody, you might not get back. I have an American Express card. I have a Discover card. I have a Chase card, and I have about 5 other business credit cards and personal credit cards mixed. But it's the reason. But everything I spend, I can pay off. I pay off on the 21st of each month. Live your life by that principle, but spend money. Have you ever noticed that the months that you have the most money are when you have spent the most? So let's say you have to change the tire on your car. You blew a tire. Well, you had to put the spare on, and then that month you had to renew your license for maybe whatever you do, or maybe you had to pay rent and you had to renew your renter's insurance. You thought to yourself, how am I ever going to pay this? I'm broke and I don't feel it. But then at the end of the month, you somehow had a little extra money, but you were doing better than you thought. Well, that's the universe, because the universe abhors a vacuum. When you spend, you receive. So don't think I'm going to hoard. That's what Enron and Tyco and all they're trying to hoard. When you try to hoard, you always destroy yourself. But what you give away, you get back. So that's kind of where I'm coming from here in terms of your wealth. If you remember these principles and you optimize yourself, and I'll finish off right here on the questions, but I'll go back to because. But let me say this in conclusion in terms of money, and everything in life is connected. You're not at your best physically, you're not at your best sexually, you're not at your best psychologically, you're not at your best financially. You usually don't have one better than the other. They all work together. So your value will follow you. Stop thinking of money in terms of lottery. Stop following channels that sit around and talk about, ooh, what are you going to do when you get your yacht? That's materialism, and it will destroy you. You never get to have money that you don't deserve. And in cases when you see that happen, it is self-destructive because they won't have it for long. You'll be like go Google sometime the lottery winners. What has happened to them? Most of them are dead, kidnapped, held for ransom, broke, overdosed. Only like 2 out of 40 have made good. Why? Because money follows wisdom, value, which follows value, which follows wisdom. Just to put that correctly. To him who has shall more be given. To him who has shall more be given. Yes, athletes go broke. Look at them. Look at the most famous people you know, actors who've developed addictions. They aren't as rich as you. If you're watching this and you can barely afford the internet, you're more wealthy because you understand this, the value that I'm giving here, that is here for the taking, than some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Who, by the way, won't be. Some of them are fast losing their edge. So that's money follows value, which follows wisdom. That's the lesson for today. Let me get back to some of your questions here, and we'll close. I do have to go and sit in a meeting, which is not fun. Trust me, you don't want to be there. I just wanted to say thank you. Let me go back and see what I missed. And see, I have found a happy balance between Joe and Dr. Fung. Hey, Dr. Fung's a great guy. Don't think that I don't like Dr. Fung. I think he has said things that are misleading, and he's teamed up with people like who was it, Tommy Moore or Jimmy Moore? I forget the guy. People that have not helped him, and he's been on the Low Carb Council of Canada or something. That's why I took issue with him. I think it's foolish to drink and eat oils. I think it's foolish to say that calories are a myth. I think those are bad ideas. Then that's why I took issue with him. It doesn't mean he's not right about a lot of what he says. The obesity code has a lot of truth in it, is my understanding. So don't think that I'm mad. I don't dislike him, but I think we have to be careful with anything. I try never to say things that I regret. I mean, it's obviously going to happen at some point. Mental health has been the best part of OMAD for me. It has saved my life. I've started working out. I've taken up a new hobby. That's it. You're starting to feel hunger high, which is the flow that I was talking about. You're getting optimized, and you're realizing if you go out to eat and you have just one small hamburger instead of the whole 2,000 calorie dinner, you're going to feel better, and then you're going to have so much energy, which you would have used for digesting, to put into your creative endeavors. Yes, it will be hard to adjust, but after that, you're going to realize what Workman, or Kayla, I guess it's Kayla, sorry if I mispronounced it, has realized. It changes your life. And once you do that 6 weeks to 3 months, you get in hunger high, and then you optimize. Every step is a good step forward. Joe, as a Muslim, I really enjoy your Bible quotes because weight is truly a disease of lack of discipline. It is. My friend Pete Rose said, that's exactly what it is. If you take control, it won't be an issue. And people will email me every single day about this, and they say, how can I succeed? Well, you can do what's right in front of you. I lost 50 pounds. That's great. Pro athletes go broke. They certainly do. Look at around Hollywood. Look at the lack of wisdom. God said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. It's definitely true. Again, not to get religious on you. I'm not religious. Don't think I'm not religious, but I do believe in wisdom, and I do believe in the divine of all that we see and know. Considering a splurge day. Any thoughts? Don't do it if you don't feel a social and or practical need to it. If it's, again, you don't, be very careful with, you don't feel obligated to do that. And that's where people end up gorging or doing something like that. You don't want to do that. Love that you are so in tune with the power of the mind. Debbie, that's what it's all about. It's never been anything different. Weight loss is a symptom of being, weight gain is being out of balance. The same way sex addiction and drugs and pornography and all of the isms are warped. Okay, cover. Like you, Joe, I'm still convinced that calories play a role. So yes, it's okay. Somebody commented again on, yes, calories absolutely play a role. Friends, if you doubt that calories matter, go, honestly, we don't. It's so stupid that it's unreal. Yeah, of course calories matter. Now, calories vary from absorption to person to age to activity level. So it's not like 3,000 calories is the standard for everybody, but they exist. Units of energy exist. And literally everywhere, everyone in the dietitian world, except for one or two strange few, will acknowledge that. Hello, Dominic. You've come at the conclusion. I've got to close out here, and I hope this has been helpful. My blessings to you all. I'm going to give it the kibosh right now, and we will talk again hopefully next Friday. Thank you so much, and ciao.